Hey, what's up? This is Coach Rod, and today I'm going to talk about self mastery, the head game. And the reason why I want to talk to you about self mastery, the head game, is because life is really about your head game. Truthfully, there are so many things that we experience in life and so many things that we go through, and we kind of forget that every single thing that we are consciously enduring happens in our own heads. And so what I want to do is to share a message with you that kind of helps you understand how to win that head game, how to overcome what's going on in your mind. And for those of you who have lived long enough and have had a lot of experience, you're going to appreciate this message, because if you've lived long enough and you've experienced enough about life, then you know that there are times when the only thing that matters is what's going on in your mind. Sure, there may be all kinds of things going on outside of you, but what's really important is what you are struggling with inside of your own head and inside of your own mind, the conversations that you're having with yourself. That's everything. It's the whole game. So let's get into it. Mastering your own mind, the head game. First of all, I want to do a little exercise with you, because I want you to really absorb this message. I want you to think about a time when you have been completely frustrated. I mean, totally frustrated with somebody. Maybe something happened within your relationship, your spouse or your girlfriend or whoever you're with, or maybe at work. In some situation, somebody or some situation has really got you upset, where you feel, completely is just, you almost like have a hard time thinking about anything else, because this thing is just holding you, right? And if you can imagine when you're in that space, that funky place in your mind where it's like everything just seems like it's just really got you upset, just fuming, and you think about the person or the situation that's got you fuming. If you pause for just 1 second at this moment while we are, just kind of talking about this, I want you to actually understand that what you are hearing, what you are feeling, what you're experiencing is all in your own head. And it may be as extreme as you're not even around the situation. Maybe the situation is ended, or maybe you're out and about and your spouse is at home. They're not with you. You're still angry at them, but they're not with you. But it feels like they're with you. If you can understand that aspect of what I'm talking about, then you also realize that the person that has a hold on you is not the person that you are directing your energy at. If you want to win the head game, if you want to completely master your own mind, self-mastery, you want to completely understand that everything that you think is happening in your head as a result of your interpretation of what it is. Even if, let's say, the situation is physically happening, the physical happening is not as, is not as bad as the way you interpret what's happening in your head. That head game is really what makes you feel the way you feel, because your feelings belong to you. Nobody outside of you, or no situation outside of you has control over how you feel. That's you. That's the way that you're reading the situation. That's the way that you're interpreting the situation. That's the definitions that you're placing on the situation. That's all you. It's not anybody else. It's not the situation. It's not the things that are taking place, even if they're taking place at the moment, it's still not you. I can recall situations in my life where things seemed bleak, like they were not going to work, and just through sheer patience and observing the situation, studying, investigating the situation, an opportunity pops up where if I wasn't in control of what's going on in my head, I would miss that opportunity because the opportunity required me to be clear enough to see that it's an opportunity. But had I not been clear, I would not have seen the opportunity where I can make just a small adjustment and then just watch how things play out as a result of that small adjustment. That's what mastery is about. That's what understanding your own mind is about. Is confronting you, is realizing that you may see a situation or you may see a potential or you're experiencing something that's causing you to feel a certain kind of way, where you reach in to yourself and completely flip what it is that you believe is causing you the issue that you're experiencing at the time. It's always up to you. Like, you can stop at any given moment and go, you know what? I'm gonna flip this thing around and look at it from a different perspective. Instead of me looking at this situation as this situation is crushing me, I flip it around and I go, okay, I'm at the gym and this is a workout. Instead of looking at this situation as, man, I can't believe I have to do this, and this. I have to go through all of these things. I'm going to flip it, and then the situation becomes a test. Or even better, it becomes a practice test. It becomes something that I'm subjecting myself to expose my own weakness, to help me get stronger at my weakness. You know? So it's completely up to you. Within your own mind, you can convert any situation. It's like you are an alchemist. An alchemist is someone who knows how to transform one object to another. Say, for example, transforming lead into gold. You know, your ability to convert is all about perspective. It's all about how you are viewing the world. This is why having a positive mindset is so important, because a positive mindset is a mindset of which you believe that things are going to work out in your favor. And because you believe that things are going to work out in your favor, even if the situation could seem bleak, you flip it in your head and you go, well, it's not bleak. Or if it's bleak, it needs to be bleak because it's going to work out on my behalf, on my favor, or I'm going to make it work out on my behalf and in my favor. You have to, if you don't see the world that way, then it'll make it very difficult for you to have a life where you feel purposeful, where you're enjoying, where even above those two things, where you feel powerful. And feeling powerful is such a critical, it's so important for people to feel complete, to feel like they have a voice, as if in life they matter. Everybody has to feel like they matter, not just matter a little bit, but they have to feel like their whole existence is really part of the grand scheme of things. Like, there's a reason for this person being born. And in the midst of feeling powerful, it's only because you have given yourself permission to feel powerful. I was working with a client, and the client is a new client, and the amount of stress that this young man was feeling was all the result of all of the pressure. This young man was carrying all of the expectations of himself and all of the expectations of his family members and his loved ones, the people around him, and was not letting up. Like, somewhere along the line, he had internalized the idea that he has to be responsible for everybody else's situation. And I can appreciate that on some level, but what I help this young man to understand is that it's not your responsibility to fulfill everybody's desires. It's your responsibility to fulfill your own. But even before you get to that point, you have to realize that the challenge that you accepted is you accepting the challenge. You can choose not to accept the challenge. I always like to say, get back to basics. When people are stressing or when people are going through a lot of turmoil in life and the situation seems like, man, when is it going to end? This thing is ongoing. I always like to remind people that when you get back to basics, you don't have to do anything. You don't have to do anything. A lot of times when people talk about the quote unquote less fortunate and describe their situations, like poverty, living under a bridge, or, begging on the streets, all of these things. And the mistake that people who are in positions make that judge those people who are living in those situations is they mistakenly assume that these people are unhappy. Happiness has nothing to do with material gains. Like, because you live in a house and someone else lives under a bridge, that is not the determining factor of happiness. The determining factor of happiness is tied to a few things, and a few of those things, some of the most important things, have to do with satisfaction. Are you satisfied with your life based off of your own purpose, your own agenda, what you are feel or believe that your reason for being here? Like, for some people, less is more. They don't need a whole lot. And for some people, they feel like they need a whole lot. But the truth is, the person who knows how to get along in life with less actually is the one that is winning the game. Because just think of it this way, right? If you can travel light, if it doesn't take much for you to feel good about yourself, then everythand else is house money. Everything else is the cherry on top, because you don't need much. But some people feel like they need everything. And that's a hard thing to overcome. And I know it for myself, because I didn't always have things when I was coming up. I grew up, it was tough. So we had a lot at some points, and then we got to a point where we did not have a lot. And during that time period, you develop this mindset where you think it's all about acquiring things. But at some point in time, if you can appreciate the tough times that you've gone through and realize that even in those tough times, it was not all bad. There were times in your tough times where you were able to smile and you might have had a good hearty laugh, or you enjoyed yourself even more than when you've had things. It reminds me of like a store or a restaurant where it's kind of small, it's cramped, it's tight, it's in this little area where, you would never think that this restaurant or business would do well, but for some reason, it's the best. And, let's just say the owner decides that, one day I'm gonna get a bigger restaurant and better location. So they move to somewhere else that, you would think would the owner is going to be happier and the customer is going to enjoy the food more. But somehow, because they moved from their tight little small location to some bigger location where, things seem to be, at least from appearances, better, they don't do as well. The owner is not as happy. They were actually happier in a cramped little tight restaurant where, everybody was, kind of sitting around, not on top of each other, but very close proximity, and the food was like excellent. It's like the energy that they create there. What I'm trying to express, and hopefully you're grasping this, is the fact that in life, it's all a head game. It's how you look at it. It's how you control the thoughts that are going through your mind. It's you making sure that you are the one who are projecting the images in your mind, and you can flip and convert and transform those images at will. Anyway, that was today's message. Self-mastery. Peace.